mining. I have been live many times this month, more so than usual. My guest today is Alicia Milne from Q2 Metals, and I will let Alicia introduce herself shortly. Today, I'm just going to start with similar land acknowledgement to the last time I was live, and that was we are in conference season, which in Canada means we get access to all kinds of amazing Indigenous artists and craftspeople. And my earrings were bought at PDAC. They are dyed rabbit fur. I love them. I don't wear them nearly as much as I should, but they are going to make an appearance at PDAC in color, I think, this year. And I believe they were done, these ones too, as the last time, by Carrie Lentwitz, who is the founder of Diamonds in the Rough. I bought too many earrings last year, but I also feel like it's a good problem to have
Is
when
there
I was.
such a thing?
Yeah, really, right? I'll probably buy more in a couple of weeks. I'm sure there were some lovely ones at Roundup. So yeah, so that's my friendly reminder. And yeah, so we are here to talk about a subject matter that will probably become abundantly clear over the next 30 minutes that I do not know a ton about, which is the financing workings of the junior exploration market. And so, Alicia, why don't we start off with an introduction to yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit about QT Metals and get into it from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Alicia Milne. I'm the president CEO of Q2 Metals Corp. We are a junior exploration company, which has two projects in the James Bay region, the EU-ITCHI James Bay region of Quebec, Canada. One is called our MIA project, which we got in 2022. It's a lithium project. We did enough work on it that we don't have to do any work for the next couple of years. And our main project is the Cisco project, which is in the southern portion of James Bay. It is turning out to be quite an amazing project, and that's our main focus right now. And it's a lithium project as well.
Yeah, you've had some good success, I've heard, which congratulations. In the junior space that can at times be challenging, but yeah, congratulations with that. So is that like a combination of the deposit quality and the market and all these forces coming together at the same time, or?
I'd like to think so, or maybe it's just me. I don't know. No, I'd like to think it's all the stars aligning at the same time, which is good. It's very fortuitous. When we got the Cisco project, it was in the worst lithium market. That was in 2024. So 2 years ago, this month, we bought this project. And a lot of our investors said, are you sure this is what you want to do? Do you want to be buying another lithium project in the worst lithium market right now? Because at that point, the lithium price had just dropped off the face of the earth. And I said, yeah, I think we do. Like, this is a good project. From what our geologists can tell, like it's something worthwhile taking a shot at. You know, and at that time we had maybe $6 million cash on hand, and it was, you know, we need to make sure every dollar counts. So when we actually started drilling it, like, we need to make sure every dollar counts here, because if we aren't hitting anything, then we need to like stop and refigure this out. And when we started drilling, we started hitting some pretty phenomenal intercepts of lithium, spodumene pegmatite, and from that point on, it was kind of, we just kept hitting it. So it's good. It's a really good situation to have. But I mean, bringing it right into this whole private placement sort of conversation, like, how do you finance that? And how do you raise the money? And if you're in a space where nobody cares about lithium, at that point we did do a financing, and it was hard to close it. But yeah.
So I do want to get into a little bit, well, not a little bit. I do want to get into that lithium piece, because so when you are, I imagine me looking at that process, I'm just going to put it out here before I forget my train of thought, is that you need to have a pretty solid handle on what you think those market fundamentals are in order to make a case for a lithium project in a down market, or any type of commodity in a down market. But so what was your background that kind of brought you to that Q2? And how did Did you wake up one day and think, "Oh gosh, I'm gonna start mining a
Absolutely.
company. This is my dream. Let's do it and go
Yeah.
for it."
No, so my background, I originally was a paralegal. Got out of school, and all they taught you how to do in paralegal school was how to do like wills and estates, civil law, criminal law. Everybody thinks they're going to be in criminal law and go to court all the time. And when I got out of school, it was a rude awakening when there was zero jobs out there for that.
Yes.
And the jobs that were available were in securities law, securities and corporate law. So I ended up working for a law firm that all they had was mining companies. Um, and this was back when it was like the internet wasn't even a thing. I mean, well, I shouldn't date myself that old, but it was just the forefront of the internet coming in, and there was the big .com boom, and everybody was switching from mining to internet technology.
Yeah.
And I stayed with two lawyers that just happened to have this roster of mining clients. And once the .com boom exploded and everything was right back to square one, like we were still working away, doing deals. So in a roundabout way, I ended up going in-house with a group of junior companies, and then did all of their work behind the scenes, and then restarted working with one of the lawyers who ended up at a bigger company, Pretium Resources. They just IPO'd, needed somebody to do all the background stuff. So that's where I went into it. And that was a company that had a gold project in northern British Columbia. So that went from advanced exploration through development into production. It's a gold mine. So that was amazing to be with, and to be there pretty much from the beginning all the way through, and actually, hold our gold in your hands and be like, this is amazing. I can't believe they did this. Yeah. And then after that, then literally got back into the junior space again. And I was a director of this company. It was called Min Focus Exploration. And it was a group of older geologists and engineers who had a project that they liked in BC. They raised just enough money every year for themselves to go out there and do work on this project, and couldn't figure out why they weren't getting any traction. And I offered to take it over. That was right during COVID, and clean up the company and put something else into it. So that's what we did. We ended up putting a gold project into the company. Actually, I think we started with a gold project in Nevada. That was tough because it was right during COVID.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting a gold project in Australia, which we still have. And then we pivoted and got into lithium. And that was in 2020, end of 2022, because that's when lithium was starting to explode.
Yeah.
So, and I ended up being the CEO and president because nobody else really put their hand up. And I thought, how hard could this be? Turns out it's hard. Well, it's just a lot. But yeah, no, it was good. And yeah, I don't regret it for a second, but it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship, I remember I was reflecting on the last 3 years of my own journey, and I thought, I remember I was going to leave corporate and I'm going to pick and choose when I work. And now I laugh every time I think about that. I'm like, no, you're just going to work every single day. There's no picking and choosing anything.
But you enjoy what you do, though, right? And yeah, we'll change it for the world. Like it's amazing to be a part of a company where you have a direct impact in how that company operates and how that company is run. And I don't know if you watched that video that we posted on across all of our social media channels. It was one of the guys here, one of the corporate development guys, Chris, had been taking clips for the past 6 months or so, like just pictures, little video clips, and actually made a music video. And everybody was sort of involved, and it ended up being like this really funny video that we posted on all of our social media, because it was one of those things that people just do and did, and they enjoy working here, they enjoy being part of something. So as long as you have that culture where you're enjoying yourself every day, you can't buy that, right?
No, you really can't. And that's one of my biggest reflections is definitely that I enjoy my work. So, and we just keep on going and growing in
Yeah.
different ways, and
Yeah.
however it works is going to be great.
Yeah.
Um, so going back to Cisco at
Yeah.
the yeah, the reason we're here today.
Yes.
So in a downturn, you convinced people to help you buy
Mm,
a lithium project. And so I
yeah.
have experience definitely from the market intelligence side as far as like creating these, I don't want to say stories, but putting together puzzles of,
Mm,
headwinds and tailwinds of macroeconomics. And well, with lithium, you're looking at battery chemistry, I'm assuming, and some other stuff, and building this picture of what the market could look like. And then getting the inevitable question of, well, when is that going to happen? And I'm like, I'm not a metallurgist. I'm not going to deal in 1 or 2 percentages. I'm going to deal with like,
yeah.
5, 10 plus years.
Mm.
So how does that work? How do you go out to a group or go to people and say, believe me, here I am. It's a you should, how does that whole private placement piece start, or that financing piece start?
Yeah. Hard to hard to say really how it starts, how it's involved. Like it's just, you know, you need to raise some money. I have a list of people who have always supported, projects that I've been involved with. My fellow director, Kevin Bottomley, he's the same. We have sort of this roster of people that we would go out to say, hey, we're raising money, you know, we want to raise this much money. If we get there, perfect. If we don't, like, we'll take what we can get. I mean, it's a junior market, right? And you never know what the commodity is going to do. I don't know if anybody would have predicted that gold was going to take off as much as it has in the past year, 6 months, even, or the past even 3 months. Same with silver. Like you never know what that commodity is going to do, and that's part of the fun. Part of the game is, well, I shouldn't say it's a game. It's not a game. But part of the fun is that you don't know what that commodity is going to do. You don't know what you're going to discover. It's like opening what are those I'm trying to think of, like, when you open a present, you don't know what you're going to get.
Mm,
Um, or opening
a
what's
box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get.
pretty much, right? And like when we started drilling at Cisco and we started hitting these really wide intercepts of lithium spodumene, like you can't predict that.
Mhm.
Um, and you just kind of have to do the work in the background to try to make sure that you're successful in what you're doing. But at the same time, you never know what you're going to get. Really, you could be drilling into, it's like drilling into a blueberry. You might hit a blueberry, you might hit nothing. All the blueberries might be on this side of the muffin, and they might,
That's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I use somebody gave me the analogy of a chocolate chip cookie.
yeah, yeah. Same,
So
same. Yeah. I was doing the blueberry muffin analogy. You never know what you're gonna hit,
yeah.
especially with like one drill hole. You hope you hit something good. In our case with lithium, it's the spodumene pegmatite. It's like this bright white rock that comes out of the ground, and you can tell when you're in it, and you can tell when you're out of it because everything else is just dark rock. Um, but I can only imagine, like, with a gold company, when you might not even be able to see what's in that core. I mean, visible gold, like, is like tiny, tiny amount. So if you don't happen to see that and you're just drilling and sending everything off to be assayed and rolling the dice and hoping for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the last time I explained the assay process, I was thankfully was sitting with a mineralogist at a time with two non-technical people, and I was like, it's been a long time. I hope I get this right. And so, talking about grinding and crushing and like destruction of samples and all this other stuff, and the different, and it was in particular with gold that we were talking about it, and so we got to, yeah, the nuggets, right? In Canada, a lot of the
Mm,
deposits for gold are nuggety. And
yeah.
so how you can, if you hit a nugget, that's great. You think you might need to keep on going, and then all of a sudden you're drilling, and how that burns through a drill budget pretty quickly
Mm,
if you're not
yeah.
assaying and doing all that other stuff well. So the challenge that we see in the market right now is retail investors. We talk consistently about mining not having a retail investor base. And you to some degree described it before, because like in the dot-com era, the speculative investment goes from mining to dot-com companies back to mining
Yep.
to cannabis companies back to mining, and we
Yeah.
keep just kind of trucking along in the background, hoping they're going to come
Yeah.
back when the next shiny thing is over.
Make a lot of money over here and then come back and invest it over here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way. I never thought about that. That's a very positive way to look at it. But women are getting all this wealth, and also we have a lot more women in mining earning these salaries. And the
Yeah.
number one question we get is, how do we even hear about private placements? Like, what is a private placement?
Mhm.
Can I participate in one and see, how do I even hear about it?
Right. Okay. I
So
can
what's that look
answer
from
some
your
of
side
the.
of things? Maybe not so much the um, like how do you participate in one? How are you looking for investors, and how do you start to build that list up?
On my side of things, on the company side of things, it's you kind of know, you have an idea of who's out there and who generally participates in the sort of junior market space, especially here in Vancouver, um, which is quite a junior mineral exploration company scene here. Um, and you kind of just reach out to, well, in my case, I would just reach out to a few people who, either they're in or they're out if they want to invest, or I'd reach out to, cast the net a little bit wider, just people in the industry that I know. Um, and then sometimes, I'd be talking to a broker or like a stockbroker or an investment banker type, and they will have some people that are looking to invest in companies such as this. Um, and that would be a good way to get your name on a list, is to, talk to a stockbroker, talk to an investment advisor to say that this is what I want to do. How can I get involved in some of these private placements? I know I get an email from one broker who, like, literally every other day, if a financing crosses his desk, he blasts it out to his list to say, hey, so and so is doing a private placement. Here are the terms. If you're interested, hit me back. Um, I have yet to do that, although some of the ones that I've been emailed, I'm kind of curious about, but I just haven't. I should have, especially like when it was, in September, October there, when there was, a bunch of gold companies raising money, and you knew that the price of gold was going to spike as much as it did. But then on the flip side, I mean, you also then have to sell your investment and hope that you're going to do well at it.
Yeah.
There are a couple like websites that I tend to follow as well, and where people post, or where they're kind of like a news aggregator that, sort of has, I guess, a search function where they just search any companies that have private placements that they're announcing or that are open. And they track those, and they track like when they open, when they close them, and then if there's warrants attached to a private placement, to if it's a unit private placement, then they'll track when they expire, that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, the actual mechanics of a private placement, they're like, usually you would come in and either buy shares, and they're called a private placement because the company is placing the shares with private individuals. And because it's a private sort of function, those shares would have a 4-month hold period on them.
Okay.
And you can either buy shares from a company, or you can buy what's called a unit, which would be like a share plus a warrant. The easiest way to describe a warrant is like a coupon. It's, usually they're like a 2-year warrant, and it's a coupon saying that you can buy this many shares at this price for the next 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of, in the past, I've seen a lot of people who will buy into like a unit private placement. And as soon as that 4-month hold period comes off the shares of that unit, they will sell that, and they'll just ride the warrant for the 2 years and hope that the price goes up. As long as they recoup their initial investment,
Yeah.
you can just ride the warrant for the next 2 years. And if it goes up, then it goes up. I mean, I'll give a good example, like Q2. So when we first bought Cisco and we got out there and we started drilling, we were down to, I think we had like $3 million, and we were in the middle of the summertime, and we're getting these really good drill intercepts. this project could be something big. We need more money. We need to keep these drills going. So we did a financing, and it was a private placement at 25 cents. And it had a half warrant attached to it. So it was 25 cents and you got a common share. And at that point, our shares were trading at, I think, 25 cents, maybe slightly higher, 28 cents or something. So it was 25 cents for the share, plus you got this half warrant. And the half warrant was at 50 cents. So, say you bought $10,000 worth of units. You got that half warrant. And I can't even do the math in my head right now of how much $10,000 would be at 25 cents. But doesn't matter. Our share price right now is at $2 and say 10 cents.
Yeah.
And those warrants are expiring this year.
Yeah.
So those people, and we still have about 8 million warrants outstanding. So there's, potentially for us, there's $4 million to come in by July this year. But there's also people who have held those warrants from 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And that 50-cent warrant, they could sell that, or they could buy the shares for 50 cents and turn around and sell it for $2.10. So that's your and that's bonus money, really, because it's a warrant, right? You've probably already recouped your initial investment on the 25-cent share.
Yeah. Oh my, I didn't even know, like, this is how my experience with mining investment is stock market. Yep. So I buy into the ETFs. And I should say at this point, I didn't say it before, that we are not suggesting any type of financial advice here. This is all experience and our own experience and our own knowledge as an example, not for sure. And so I didn't even know that was a thing. So what I would do is I just would put, I've never been an accredited investor. So an accredited investor is, I think it's 200 or 250,000 in annual earnings. Not
2 years or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know that it needs to be, like, I think that's total compensation, not base.
After taxes.
Yeah.
So, or you could have net assets of a certain amount. I think it's $1 million, or is it 5 million? Something like that.
I can find the link and I can put it in the after, if people want to know if they are an accredited investor. So I think one of the things that I want to take, or people to take away, is that you do not need to be an accredited investor to invest in mining. You put money into, I put like $25 into a trading account, and I would buy ETFs and in gold, which is like a basket of gold or a basket of lithium, basket of uranium. That was another way to do it. But I never experienced this side of things, which to me is very interesting as far as how all of that would work out. So.
Yeah. I mean, it is a gamble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, this is not investment advice, but if you were to put in, X amount of money and that company does well over the next couple of years, then you could potentially do well. You also have the other side of things where, if it's a completely crap market, or like say you had bought, because the markets just sort of blew up. What was that, 2 weeks ago? It was right around Roundup was in town, and everybody's so excited because they all have money. And then literally as soon as Roundup was over and it started raining again here in Vancouver, the markets kind of imploded on themselves a little bit. I mean, they didn't completely crash, but there was a big sell-off. But if you had bought shares, even just in an ETF at, say, $10 a share, and then tomorrow it's trading at $5 a share, like, you got to be able to take that loss. You have to be able to withstand and maybe be a long-term holder, or if you're in it just for the quick turnaround, like, you need to know what your own sort of thinking is how long you're going to be in that stock. Like from that unit private placement that we did, there were some people that, pretty much as soon as we closed that financing, our shares were 30 cents all the way to $1. And we were sort of tracking around like $1 range it was between 80 cents to $1 range for about 6 months there. I mean, that's a good time. You've already tripled your money. So a lot of people, I would suspect, cashed out their initial investment of the common shares and then just keep the warrants and just ride them to see where it lasts. I mean, depending on your tolerance level, I know a few people who exercised their warrants right away and sold it and said, hey, thank you. Thank you for bringing me in on that financing. I made some money. This is good. And off they went. But then there's other people who they still have their warrants, and they could have exercised them 6 months ago when we were trading at 90 cents. Some did, some didn't, and now we're trading at $2. So it's a gamble. It's always a high risk sort of environment. So
Yeah.
it depends on what your appetite is for that too.
Yeah.
ETFs are good because you're exposed to a basket of stocks, a basket of securities, and a lot of them are sort of more of the blue chip, the producers, the ones who are going to be able to withstand the market doing this, right?
That's what I liked about them. I'm sad. So I would have bought in when gold was around 1,800 an ounce. And now I'm like, I pulled them out because self-employment.
Yep.
And I was like, darn it. So I try not to look back on things that I have like missed out on, because
you can't look back.
Really either way, you get depressed really quickly. So
yeah, you'll drive yourself nuts if you look back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, another example for me on the investing side of things is that I bought shares of a company who's actually in the same area as us, in lithium, Patriot Battery Metals, PMET Resources. And I bought them because I knew the president and CEO at the time. And I bought them, and I bought shares. I think I put in $5,000, and the shares were 35 cents a share. And for anybody that followed PMET or Patriot, that was at the last lithium cycle. So their shares went from essentially 25, 30 cents all the way up to $17 a share.
Wow.
I sold at $5 a share.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yes, I made money. That's a win. So I cashed out, and those shares just kept going and going. And I had FOMO. So I bought back in at, I think, $13 a share.
Yeah.
And I didn't sell them. And now they're trading at $6.50 a share. So, I mean, that was a loss. I still believe in the company. They have a phenomenal project. So I will continue to hold those shares, and I'll probably pick up some more here to average down my costs a bit. But yeah, it's a matter of, do you believe in the commodity? Do you believe in the cycle? For us, for lithium, I think we're sort of starting to trend up, and I hope it's a slower trend than the last one, which was an immediate spike.
Yeah.
And that's why that company went from, and I think it was in the span of like a year and a half, that it went from 35 to 50 cents all the way up to $17. Like, incredible.
Yeah.
And it made people a lot of money. But then there's a lot of us who, didn't really see the crash, or were just holding on because I don't know why.
Look, what I think you made a good point. I just realized I said I was going to ask your final question like right around this time. Because it goes by so quickly. But you do make a good point in that it's a total story, right? It's not just you said like you believe in the company, and that's one of the things that we have learned, is that women tend to be consistent in their investment, in that they will stay longer for things around. You believe in the company, you believe in the market fundamentals, even if they're not good right now. There's all these other reasons to invest outside of, well, the price of gold is good right now. That's like only one input into a total basket of stories, right? So so the final question.
Always do your research. Always look at the company and see what their track record is. See what they're spending their money on. Are they spending hundreds upon thousands of dollars on the marketing? Or are they putting that money into the ground, right? There's all sorts of different ways that they're going to spend that money, and you want to, I don't know, try to pick a winner, try to pick the best horse in the race.
Yeah. When I was teaching some women over the fall, it was like, ask questions that align with your values around, other things. Like, if you don't understand geology, that's only one piece of the puzzle, and you'll have people around you that can help you with that. But there are other things too that are going to be important to you.
Yeah, sure.
Ask those questions. My final question to you is, what would you tell yourself now? What would you have now tell yourself usually I go all the way back, but I'll go back to you saying that you put up your hand to run the company, and what sage advice would you give yourself around
just to be prepared to have days where nothing works the way that you think it will be, and then be prepared for days where everything is great. There's highs and there's lows, and you just have to keep your focus and to keep going on. There's always going to be people around you that support you, and there's going to be people around you that won't, to put it mildly. But you just got to keep going, and you have to persevere, and to know that you're doing something that you're passionate about, right?
Yeah. That would be advice, that just keep going. There are going to be times when you think, well, on my side, there are going to be times when you're wondering, how exactly am I going to pay the mortgage this week? But you just keep going, and it's going to be okay.
I mean, it's the same any other sort of aspect of life too. Like, there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times. You just got to keep persevering, and
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me. You are going to be at the Women in Investing course at PDAC. So that's March 1st is the Sunday. And so you will be with us, and then there's the dinner after that you'll also be joining us for. So excited to meet you in person. That will be fun, and ask you even more questions about all of these fun things. So
I look forward to it.
Yeah, so do I. So thank you, and we shall see folks soon.